Today we're going to do some autumn landscape photography on this location. I'm in the forest. It's not a foggy day, but it's going to be interesting to see the compositions and the settings. So these are the things that I'm going to share with you. So tips, compositions, finding subjects, finding points of interest and settings. So I hope you will find all this information useful. I'm using my Canon EOS R, and very soon I'm going to post a video about my opinion after 1 year of using this camera. So it's gonna be an interesting experience or an interesting video. So let's get started with the video from today, and let's explore the forest and the beautiful colors and see what we can find to photograph, of course.
I decided to stop here for the first shot, and what I really like is how the forest or the trail of the forest takes you in depth of this image. We have these yellow trees, and then this rug of reddish, dark reddish leaves on the ground, and we have a couple of compositions. So something like this would be one of them, and then maybe wider, maybe just a little wider, to also include these yellow trees over here.
The settings for this location are f8, 1 second, ISO 100. I'm also using my polarizer. The polarizer, when I'm inside the forest, never gets off the lens. Now I really liked that tree over there, that yellow tree. I think I think whenever you can create contrast, you have a yellow tree, a red tree, and the rest of the forest is of a different color. Like in this case, the trees have the leaves still green. So in a situation like this, I think you have to take advantage of. You have to photograph it, because that yellow tree is gonna look really good. It's gonna pop. It's gonna draw your attention. As settings, I'm again at f8, ISO 100, but whoops, I took another photo. But the exposure is 0.8 seconds. Now, whenever you are in the forest, the light will change slightly. Even if you're moving 10 meters or 10 feet, the way you see light is very important. The way you realize how light affects your subject, it's also important, because when you're going to realize that your subject has to benefit from the light, at that point half of the equation will be solved, because you're going to have an interesting composition with an interesting subject and an interesting light. Today I'm photographing on an even flat light. It's cloudy, there is no sun on the sky. It's not the perfect light, but for me the perfect atmospheric conditions in the forest involve fog. But if I don't have fog, the next best thing is even light. I received a question about using the polarizer inside the forest on a day like this, when the light is flat, when it's cloudy. And just to prove my point, I don't want to talk about the reasons. I just want to show you the reasons. So this is the photo without polarizer, and this is the photo with the polarizer. So you just make your own decisions. The forest is a pure representation of chaos, and finding interesting shots means that you always have to look for it. You always have to pay attention. You also always have to look around. Try to identify interesting trees, interesting areas where the light hits in a different way. So there are many ways in which you can create interesting and compelling compositions in the forest. But it's a constant search. You're not just going on the trail and the compositions are going to pop just there on the trail. Sometimes it happens, but sometimes you just need to look for it. I found an interesting tree back there, and now the settings have changed. I'm again at ISO 100 and f8. These settings are not going to change during the day, but the exposure is 1.3 seconds. And as I said, light, it's very different in the forest. There are areas that are darker, areas that are lighter, areas where the light hits in a much more interesting way or in a simplest way. Now, for this situation, I really like the tree with the branches that are kind of spreading, and the counterpoint for that tree is represented by 3 other trees, I think, 3 or 4. I think 3 trees that are positioned in line and that create like a leading line, if you want. There are elements that stop you from escaping the photo to the left and kind of guide your attention towards the tree. In this case, I like the arch tree over there. Now, this tree is going towards the kind of reddish tint of color for the leaves. 2 days ago it was yellow, so autumn changes really fast. When the peak of autumn is reached by the trees, then the colors will diminish very fast in just 2-3 days. If you're waiting a week, you're not going to get anything. Now the settings for this situation are f8, ISO 100 and 1/4 of a second. There is more light in here. Now what I wanted to pay close attention to was not to include the sky. I just wanted to have that feeling of a clearing in the forest, kind of like a V shape where I have one tree to the right and then the arch tree to the left, and the light hits that arch tree and the leaves are reddish and they're popping, but I didn't want your attention to escape into the brightness of the sky, so that's why I didn't include it. Experimenting in the forest, as I said, is an absolute must. And in this situation, you see me standing really low because I really liked this these roots of this tree that are covered in this beautiful green moss. And then in the background, I'm having a yellow tree. Again, I'm creating contrast, and I'm also having this tree with these beautiful roots as a foreground element. I really like how the tree curves a little bit. As settings, I went to f22, ISO 100 and 2.5 seconds. And the reason for f22 is I'm at about 1 meter from the root at about 28 millimeters focal length. So I just want to be absolutely sure. I didn't want it to check the hyperfocal, so f22, and then I'm having everything in focus. Now there are some people that don't like f22. It's their problem. I have no problem with that. I can sharpen the photo in post.
This one is a simple shot. I mean, we're having 2 trees, one to the left and one to the right, and then some beautiful light in the center, and then that tree over there. So we're trying to position in a way that It looks good. We have some interesting light on it, so I think this shot will work. And as settings, I'm at f8, 0.3 seconds, ISO 100.
That was it for today. I hope you like it. Please share, like, and comment on this video. Subscribe if you are not already subscribed. And until next time, keep on photographing, because it's the only way to get better. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.